Notice of this meeting stating the date, place, and time has been disseminated as required under the Open Public Meeting Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. This meeting's called to order. Mr. Clerk, please conduct the prayer and flag salute.
God of the universe, look thou with favor upon these here assembled, and bestow thy guidance upon the members of the governing body in their deliberations. This we ask in thy name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Just a good news announcement tonight. Mr. Colobus won't be here in person because this morning his wife had a baby girl, Samantha, and he'll be here electronically with us. Yay. So congratulations, Mr. Colobus.
Thank you.
In the event of emergency, the proper method for exiting the council chamber is through the 3 doors in the rear of the room. Occupants should proceed down the staircase, out the front of the door, move away from the area of the front steps. Any member of the public wishing to speak during the public comment session at the end of the meeting, to please sign in on the white sheets provided at the front of the room. Please turn off all cell phones or place them on vibrate. If you must take a call, leave the council chambers to do so. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Mr. Colobus.
Here.
Koziel. Here. Brown. Here. Armstead. Here. Cosby Hurling.
Here.
Sadowski.
Here.
Sheehy. Here. Yamakaitis.
Here.
Medina.
Here.
Kaczynski. Here. Mr. Moore.
Here. We'll move into the minutes of December 18th, 20. Ask for a motion.
Mr. Council President, I move for the approval of the minutes from December 18th, 2012, and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Colobus.
Yes.
Koziel.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Yamakaitis.
Yes.
Medina.
Abstain.
Kaczynski.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
Thank you.
We're going to move into the consent agenda. All items listed with an asterisk are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted with one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered in a normal sequence on the agenda. We have 1 through 4. Does anyone wish to remove an item on my right? In the center, does anybody wish to move any item? On my left? Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion for 1 through 4.
Mr. Council President, I don't think the first ward councilman knows that. I will move these on behalf. I will move consent agenda items number 1 through 4, and I'll ask for a second.
Second. Mr. Colobus.
Thank you, Richard. Yes.
Koziel.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Sadowski.
Yes.
Sheehy.
Yes.
Yamakaitis.
Yes.
Medina.
Yes.
Kaczynski.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes. Mr. Colobus, understanding your situation, do you have anything you'd like to say this evening as far as the report?
Thank you, Council President. I just, I want everybody to bear with me. I don't know if the connection's carrying over or not, because I'm sitting at a hotel, I wish, a hospital room right now. Any Christmas resident who has any concerns, please give me a call at 908-925-5568. And also, I just want to note that, thanks to Councilman Koziel as well, with the 4-way stop on DeWitt and Henry Street. I think we've already seen the difference in the speed, and the speeding and the lack of it. So that concludes my report, Council President.
Thank you. And since we've done this last time, the audio is much better on it.
Okay.
Thank you. Councilman Koziel.
Thank you, Council President. Allow me to be the second, Councilman Colobus, to wish you and your lovely wife Rose all the best on the birth of Samantha Christina Colibus. I wish you and your family the very best. From the
Thank you, Rich.
From the Public Property Committee, this past week I met with Department Director Mr. McDonald to review the state of the department and review priorities for 2013. From the Technology Committee, the committee met this past week, and thanks to Councilman Brown for helping me there, and the upcoming purchase and implementation of all updated municipal computer technology. Excuse me. Items discussed were the hiring of Pascack Data to implement the 2013 computerization upgrade. That's resolution number 2013-99 on the agenda tonight. The development of a physical inventory of all departmental telecommunications and duplicating equipment, as well as a review of all phone data lines currently in use. The committee also talked about beginning to develop a site plan for an updated municipal website. I know we've been talking about this for a while. There's a lot involved in doing this, including content gathering and quite honestly getting a structure within the city to be able to gather content and populate this and keep it current on a regular basis. The committee will begin to develop a needs assessment for IT support personnel who would be responsible for the content development, social media content such as Facebook, and dissemination in TV 36 programming and maintenance, because we want all of our information coming out of the city to be consistent and correct, and this all has to be coordinated. And once we establish that, an RFQ will be developed to remain under the purchasing threshold. Second ward specific items, the four-way stop you heard Councilman Colibus mention at DeWitt and West Henry Street. For about 2 weeks, we've had the notification that it was going to take place, and it did change over on January 18th. DeWitt Street is very similar to Washington Street in the second ward, in the third ward. It's a very Washington being a wide thoroughfare, but DeWitt being a narrow thoroughfare, that just invites excessive speed. Once you come down from Gessner to Curtis and come down the hill by the field house, it's pretty much a straight run, and a lot of people take liberties on that road all the way to the light at Knopf. And after many years of numerous accidents at the intersection, four-way stop went into effect on the 18th. Warning information signs reminded motorists for 2 weeks prior. And as anything, I heard a little good, I heard a lot of good, I heard a little bad, but it's going to take getting used to, as did similar signals on Washington. But slowing the flow of traffic on Curtis Street to Knopf is meant to make our streets safer, and hopefully not an inconvenience. And I ask all those who travel in the area to be patient and please be safe. I've asked Mr. McDonald, weather permitting, I know we expect a little weather at the end of the week, but weather permitting, street markings on the street be applied to all four approaches. We have 2 stops and 2 slows right now, and they're fading, but we'll get them, and I think it's as visible as it could be. And what's great about a block prior, we do have those approach signs that do warn of a stop sign. I haven't talked about the United Lacquer property in quite a while. It's been over a year trying to market this brownfield property, and we haven't had any success. I've asked our city attorney and necessary departments to explore the possibility of property condemnation. I've considered the property, and so do homeowners in the area, a safety hazard. I've asked our consultant, Greener by Design, to explore available grants for further remediation and the development of possibly a green and sustainable property initiative. I spoke to Chief Schulhafer about illegal parking by commercial vehicles, which continues on a somewhat irregular basis, but does continue in the second ward, specifically on West Blanky and West Elizabeth Avenue. And when I see them, and if anybody sees them, please call the police and let them know that we're not supposed to have large vehicles parked on our streets overnight. Tree trimming and removal. We're still feeling the effects of the storm and will for quite a few months, so please be patient. I have gone to TBW with only emergency situations, and I thank them for attending to those, but soon enough I will alert everybody when we can resume our normal tree schedule of trimming and removal. We're going to, as I said, get some weather this week. No parking on snow emergency streets. In the second ward, that includes the entire length of Stiles, DeWitt, Knopf, West Elizabeth, and Wood Avenue in the ward. I'd like to mention that the Consolidation Ad Hoc Committee has had itself been consolidated into other committees. The Real Estate and Public Property Committees will now be taking the responsibility of what the Consolidation Committee did because, again, personnel through attrition and other means have been reduced in the city significantly, and the Real Estate and Public Property Committee will look at some properties that are going to need attention as to how we will best utilize them in the future. To reach me, again, communication, to reach me, your thoughts and comments. A lot of people have been contacting me via Facebook. You can go to log on to councilmankoziel.com or my Facebook page, or send me an email. It's the best way to reach me. You'll find me at 862-6820. Try me in the evenings. It's the best time to reach me, or email me at councilmankoziel@gmail.com. And again, congratulations to Chris and Rose. End of report, Council President.
Thank you. Councilman Brown?
Thank you, Council President. From the Finance and Budget Review Committee report, approval is requested for the following finance actions. The acceptance of Phillips 66 donations of $25,000 to the Linden Fire Department and $25,000 to the Linden Police Department to purchase specialized equipment needed for each department. Do I need to read you the reports separately? Do separately? I ask for approval, seek a second.
I'll second that.
Okay, Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yamikaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
The second item, the acceptance of Citgo's donation of fuel to the City of Linden Municipal Garage during Hurricane Sandy. I request for approval, seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yamikaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Third item, the payment of bills totaling $1,016,713.38. The bills have been signed by the mayor, the council president, and the finance chairman, and a detailed check register and vouchers are on file in the clerk's office. I ask for approval and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yamikaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
And the last item, we are in receipt of investments made by the city treasurer for the month of December at a rate of 0.25%. I make a motion for approval and seek a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yamikaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
End of report.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Armstead?
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I'd like to congratulate Chris Kalbas and his wife on their new addition to their family. Chris, congratulations, if you're out there, if you can hear me.
Thank you, Derek.
You know I have 5 children, Chris. You know, they told me at number 3, they told me to get a TV.
You're going to win this one, Derek.
Listen, we're going to take a little collection up. Maybe we'll get a TV for you, okay?
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Now more serious business. I have the following report from the City Clerk's Office. The following licenses, permits, and transcripts were issued in the City Clerk's Office during the month of December 2012. They've been turned over to the Treasurer of the City of Linden. We had 74 birth and death and marriage transcripts for $1,065. We had 14 marriage civil union licenses for $42, and an additional $350 went to state. 0 domestic partnerships. We had 9 miscellaneous revenues for $22.32. We had 4 bingo raffles for $810. 234 EDRS vital statistics for $3,315, and 2 borough permits, a total of 337 transactions for a total of $5,614.32. And the City Clerk's Licensing Division, they've submitted a monthly report for the month of December 2012. The office issued 74 miscellaneous licenses and collected $9,100, and that support comes from Joan Turbot. Quick announcement, we have an invitation from the Board of Education events. We have a program welcome reception on Monday, February 4th, 2013, for China Night. Oh, I'm sorry. A welcome reception on Monday, February 4th, 2013, and to China Night on Friday, February 8th, 2013. And that will be in the Linden High School Auditorium at 121 West St. George Avenue in Linden. Just like to talk a little bit about what we discussed last night with regard to collecting medals in the city of Linden. Over the last few months, we've noticed a considerable decrease in the revenues that we receive for our recyclables and our basically metals that we pick up on the trash pickup. And what has been occurring is that individuals come by with their trucks and they pick up the metal, and you know, to them it's a way of living. And my heart goes out to people like that, because the only reason people are picking trash is because they need the money. I've often said, I'd rather see you picking my trash than climbing through my window. So people who are out there actually doing this are doing it because they need the money. So we discussed at some great length last night the possibility of coming up with some sort of fees to give people a license, a permit to actually pick the trash. And to me it sounds, you know, like a reasonable alternative to allowing people to pick the trash. So you'll pick up some revenues versus the little that we're getting currently. I'd like council just to think about it and come up with some innovative ideas, maybe think about the fee schedules that you think would be appropriate, maybe reach out to some other towns to discuss it, so that we could perhaps, you know, enact some sort of fee schedule for people who want to pick trash. Again, I don't think people should be penalized for it, because if they're out there picking trash, it's because they need to, you know. And you know, I recall as a child, my father did it. He worked 2 jobs, and he hustled scrap, and he managed to raise 5 children. So it's just something that we have to look at. We don't want to stop people from earning an honest living. At the same time, we do realize that we have a responsibility to the citizens to try to collect some revenues for it. So again, I'd like council to think about it. And Jack, I don't want to steal your thunder. If you get a chance, you can talk about it as well. I mean, because the idea, basically, we've talked about it several times together. So that being said, I'd like to conclude with one other thing. Last month, we welcomed Armando Medina to our governing body. And I think we neglected to mention one thing. Armando Medina is actually our first Hispanic Latino member of our governing body in the history of the city. And he's made history. And I'd like to congratulate him and his community. And not that he's there just to govern for Latinos, I mean, because it took everybody to get him elected. It just, you know, as a member of this city for so many years, I can recall back in the 60s, an outcry went out because we had no African-American members on council. And so the people in our community, they got together, they started trying to figure out how we could have some representation on council. Our numbers had grown great enough, and they felt that there was a need to have representation on council. And it took the people from our community and like-minded people from other communities, and they all collaborated together. They got together, and I recall when they re-gerrymandered the lines, and particularly the 4th Ward, which is the ward I represent now, the lines were redrawn, and it enabled us to have our first African-American councilman. And that wasn't done just by the African-American people getting together. It was the African-American people, and it was like-minded people from all over the city who got together, who felt like there was a need to have representation for our community. And that day has now come for the Hispanic community. The numbers are here. They have a very large population in town now. And I'm confident that Armando will do a great job representing not just his ward and not just the Latino people, but he's going to do a great job to help advance this city so that all the people in this town will have representation and that everybody will benefit from all the good things that Linden has to offer. So once again, Armando, congratulations to you and the people of your community. That concludes my report, Mr. President. Concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Cosby Hurling.
Thank you. Before I give my report, I forgot to thank our Santa last month. We had a Santa event, and our Santa did a great job, so I want to thank him for every year he comes out and he does a great job. And I want to also mention See and Learn, who was there at the Santa event this year from the Learning Literacy Foundation, giving out prizes. They were toys, there were books, and also Councilwoman Yamakaitis, who came and showed support for the event as well, so I don't want to forget because I need Santa for next year. Just some reminders, on Thursday this week, I will have office hours at the Multipurpose Center on John Street between 6 and 8. And Saturday, we are going to have casino night. If you got the email and you had the 25th as the date, I apologize. Casino night is actually going to be on the 26th. It's a great time had by all. It's a fundraiser for the Mongill Corporation. Of course, it's the housing authority where the senior property is on Dill Avenue. If you'd like to get more information, you can contact 908-298-3820. Tickets are $50, and you can purchase them at the door if you don't get it in advance. Wednesday on the 30th of January, 6:30 p.m. at the Multipurpose Center. I just wanted to make clear what the presentation is. This would be our first community meeting. However, we're going to have the Linden Police Department come, and they're going to give us a presentation for active shooter. The active shooter presentation is what the citizens' response should be in the event of an emergency. The active shooter program was developed for average Jane Doe and, John Q. public. So if you are in a situation at the supermarket, at the bank, or wherever, the police are going to give us just some tips and advice on what, we could do, to be safe in the event of an active shooter. So if you have an interest in learning a little bit from the police department, it's going to be put on by Lieutenant Parham of the Linden Police Department, and we're going to do it at 6:30 Wednesday, January 30th. If you have any concerns, suggestions, please remember to call me. I have text and talk at 908-477-4120. My email is rcosbyhurling, no hyphens, at linden-nj.org, and I also have a page on Facebook. I want to say thank you for your many years of service and wish a happy retirement to Mary Spoon from the Housing Authority. She retired this year. I'd like to let everyone know who is not aware that effective this year, the recreation facilities in Linden for adults, not seniors and not children, the fees are going to be $20. And I spoke to Mr. McDonald, and he assured me that for each facility, that money is going to go into a dedicated account. So the idea is when, you hear someone say, we want to do programs, we'll at least start to build a bank, and we have some funding available in the near future to use towards those programs. If you've seen in our neighborhood on East St. George's Avenue near Alexander, the 7-Eleven is being built. It's underway. It looks like it's going to be a nice size 7-Eleven, so we're looking forward to having a little convenience store in our neighborhoods. Wanted to just let everyone know there is expected to be accumulation this weekend of snow. And we do have Chandler Avenue, which is a no parking when the road is snow covered. We also have an issue on Charles Street with parking and plowing, and Middlesex Street, the 1100 block. If you are on 1100 Middlesex, or if you are on the Charles Street and you don't have a driveway, the Public Works Department is going to do for us to plow up by the railroad tracks on East Baltimore, so you can safely park your car and then be assured that you can travel safer, so the plows can get through. We have school buses that come through, and it's for our convenience that, Mr. Fakiti is going to do this for us. Middlesex, 1100 block in Charles Street, if we do get accumulations, consider moving to East Baltimore so that we can plow the streets clearly and we can get our school buses through safely next week, and you can travel safely. And before I close, I just want to say to our Chief Bavona, who's in the audience tonight, you're on the agenda to be full-fledged chief and we know you're retiring. We just wanted to wish you happy retirement and just let you know that we appreciate your service for all the years that you did it, and we'll miss you. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilman Sadowski.
Thank you, Council President. I have a few remarks. First, Chris and your wife, Rose, congratulations again. Rest up. Okay, first, I've been getting calls concerning two-hour parking on streets. If you live on a two-hour parking, you do need a permit. You do need a permit, and all you have to do is go down to the Traffic Bureau, show proof of residency, and they will give you the permit. But you do need one. Coming up, the residents of Smith and Hampton Streets, just a reminder, this is to anyone in the city, plus to them. We have a meeting concerning the building of the Wawa gas station and food store. The problem seems to be the closing of Hampton Street at Route 1. The residents are, I guess, up in arms, and they have a right to express their opinions. All are welcome to come to this meeting. The meeting is on Thursday, January 31st, last Thursday of this month. It's at 7 o'clock, and it's at the 3rd floor here in the city of Linden, the City Hall. So if you're interested or you're on the streets, please come, 7 o'clock the last Thursday. Okay. I've got a lot of questions from, I go to the senior citizen meetings, and questions they were asked about is recycling electronics. They don't know if they could put it out and so on and so forth. Linden, though, you're privileged. You can bring some of your electronics down to the station down there. The city will take CDs, DVDs, circuit boards, CPUs, fax machines, tablets, hard drives, keyboards, modems, monitors, televisions, e-readers, phones, printers, scanners, speakers, video cassettes, and VCRs. If you bring them down, the city will take them. They will not take microwaves, air conditionings, or white goods, refrigerators and stoves and so on. So if you want to get rid of it, please bring it down to the recycling center off Elizabeth Avenue. They will accept them. The other thing, I got it from the water company. If you, I guess, found a different taste in your water, they were cleaning out their lines as of January up to February. Sometimes they said you may get a chlorine taste. If you have gotten one, boil the water or just let it sit. It's not hazardous, but it may taste a little funny. This should be finished beginning of February. And the last thing, if anyone is interested in making appointments for getting assistance on their income tax, it just opened up. They have it at the John T. Gregorio Center. If you would give them a call, make an appointment, you could come down there and get your income tax done for free. Excuse me. The last thing is, this is a lot for senior citizens. I am representative. We do have good senior citizen clubs in the city, whether it's the Men's Club or Tremley Point or whatever it is. If you're interested, they meet once a week. Come down, give us your expertise, and you can have a good time. So please consider that. Any questions from anyone in the ward, please give me a call. I don't have email, sorry. My phone number is 862-0749. If you call, I will definitely get back to you and hope to answer any of your questions. Thank you. That concludes my...
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Sheehy?
Thank you, Council President. I need to read a grant that the Fifth Ward Councilwoman was very instrumental in getting the City of Linden this grant for $45,000, so I'm going to read it into the minutes of the meeting. I move for approval of the acceptance by the City of Linden of a grant in a total not to exceed $45,000 to be utilized to hire a total of 6 participants to assist with the Hurricane Sandy cleanup. These 6 certified participants will be referred from the Union County One-Stop Center. We will assist with cleanup under the Public Works Department. I further move that the mayor and such other officials as are necessary and proper are authorized to execute such documents, and the superintendent of Public Works is authorized to hire, after conducting the city's interview process, 6 such employees for seasonal basis as referred from the Union County One-Stop Center. Such employment to end up upon the grant funds. And I ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown? Yes. Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yamakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
All right. I would once again like to thank everyone, I don't want to mention names, that has helped out with the catastrophe we had with this Hurricane Sandy. The way this city came together with all the departments and all the volunteers and all the businesses that helped out is just, it's beyond words, and thanks. Thank you, please. And I'd like to move on. We're looking for volunteers for the Mayor's Youth Commission, the Culture Committee, and the Office of Emergency Management. If anybody would like to volunteer, please contact me or the Mayor's office. And I'd like to say, God bless Chris Colibus. He'll be living with a house full of women. God bless you, Chris. End my report, sir. Oh, one other thing. I would like to congratulate Mr. Alvarez for being the first Puerto Rican on the school board. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Mr. Sheehy. Mrs. Yamakaitis?
Thank you, Mr. President. Okay, I have the Personnel Committee report. Just like to see if anybody has any questions on it before we read it. Seeing none. Approval is requested for the following personnel actions. Number 1, in the Fire Department, the approval of Richard Bobish to carry over 16 vacation days, 120 holiday hours, 2 personal days of his unused 2012 time due to an extended long-term illness. This time will be utilized by March 31st, 2013. In the Department of Finance, Division of Tax Collection, the approval of the paid FMLA leave of absence of Tawanda Gatson Passmore from January 4th, 2013 through February 15th, 2013. Said leave shall be intermittent through February 15th, 2013. Number 3, in the Municipal Court, the approval of Judge Daniel Roberts to carry over 7 paid time off days due to his inability to utilize his paid time off in 2012. Number 4, in the Department of Public Property and Community Services, Division of Public Works, the hiring of 2 laborers, Tier 2, at $11.50 per hour, effective January 28, 2013. A. Robert Goebel, B. Troy Miller. Number 5, in the Municipal Court, the hiring of 2 part-time municipal court attendants at the starting hourly rate of $10, effective January 28, 2013. The hiring of the following part-time municipal court attendants to work the morning and afternoon sessions, not to exceed 19.5 hours work hours for the employees combined, and shall not be entitled to health benefits. A. Terrell T. Smalls. B. Ronald J. Latini. Number 6, in the Police Department, the permanent appointment of Salvatore Bavono as permanent police chief, effective January 23rd, 2013, at the annual salary of $161,476,000. I move for approval and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Prior to saying yes, Mr. President, I'd like to just make a few comments. First of all, I want to start off with the number 4 on the agenda. Mr. Robert Goebel, I'd like to congratulate you. Known you since you were a little boy. And Troy Miller, congratulate you also. Haven't known you as long as I've known Mr. Goebel, but I do know one thing. You both have performed in the back of that garbage truck like no other. I mean, these gentlemen have worked seasonal for a number of years. Mr. Goebel was offered another job. He could have very easily left, but he stayed on the back of the truck in the hopes of someday becoming permanent. This is long overdue. He should have been hired a couple of years ago. You don't often find the kind of dedication and commitment that these two gentlemen have provided this city, and they deserve this job. And I'm glad that we finally have taken some action to put you on. That being said, I'm going to move on to number 5 and congratulate Terrell T. Smalls, and who I've also known for a number of years. I'd like to congratulate Ronald J. Latini. Everybody knows the Latini family in Linden. When you've been around as long as I have, and my family has, we know who everybody is. Latinis are involved. They're a construction family in town, and they're a good family and good people, and we'd like to congratulate them as well. And last but not least, I have to say something about my good friend, Chief Salvatore Bavona. Sal is he wasn't just a police officer in town. He was a person who had a connection to the town. Sal knew you by your name, and we all knew who he was. And I'm going to go back, years and years ago, but my father wouldn't let me buy a mini bike, so I entered a contest and I won one. And we needed a place to ride our mini bikes. Of course, in Linden, you couldn't ride them in the streets. But Sal would let us ride our mini bikes on the side of the railroad tracks. You can't get in trouble now. I think the statute of limitations is over, Sal. You're okay. But Sal would let us ride our mini bikes on the side of the railroad tracks. Him and a few other officers said, "You guys got no place to ride them? We're going to let you ride them on the railroad track, or on the side of the railroad tracks." So, in addition to just allowing those type of things and being an understanding police officer, Sal was just hands-on. Everywhere you went, if there was something going on in the community, Sal was there. When we started having project graduation years later, when I got involved in politics, guess who was there? Sal and his wife. These people have given to our community for years, and if anybody was ever deserving to be a chief of police in this town, I can let you know it's Sal Bavona. And Sal, we're going to miss you. I sincerely mean that. You've not only been a great police officer, you've been a great police chief, you've just been a great person. And the city of Linden, let me tell you, we'd be a lot better off if we had a few more people like you in this town, or a few more people like you serving in the capacity that you've served in this town, and we're really going to miss you. So congratulations, and enjoy. I know it's going to be short-lived, you being the chief in title, because you're going to be leaving us soon, but congratulations nonetheless. And thank you for your time and your service.
So, Mr. Armstead, you...
And with that, I'm going to say yes to all. Okay.
Thank you.
Cosby Hurling.
I am going to vote yes on all with these exceptions. Number 4, I'm going to abstain. And number 5, I'm going to vote no for B, since there was only one posting.
Sadowski.
I vote yes on all.
Sheehy.
I vote yes on all, and I'd like to congratulate Sal. He was a straight-up guy with me, and I appreciate you putting up with me, Sal, and working with me, and you're a fine American.
He doesn't have to sit there.
Yamakaitis.
Yes.
Medina.
Yes.
Kaczynski.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes to all.
Okay, I would like to congratulate our new hires, and as well as Chief Bavona. Would you please stand? Yes. Congratulate you, Chief Bavona.
Gonna miss you, Chief.
We will miss you, Chief. Moving on, for the 8th Ward report, I'd just like to report I have been in contact with Assemblywoman Linda Stender for assistance from the state to work in conjunction with Linden in regards to our Do Not Block the Box ordinance, which was passed last fall. We will need to get the state involved to help us with signage and painting the intersection, so we are in the process of getting that all moving. And I've just asked to mention from the Knights of Columbus, they'll be working in conjunction with the PAL and the Recreation Department this Saturday. They're hosting a foul shooting contest at the Linden Multipurpose Center on John Street. The time of the event will be from 4:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m., so please pre-register at the PAL building or the Linden Multipurpose Center. This event is open for Linden youth only, and you will need to provide a birth certificate to show proof of age because there's different categories for the foul shooting contest. And last but not least, I just want to mention that we will be having a community meeting in the 8th Ward on Monday, February 11th at 7 p.m. at the Jersey Lanes Bowling Alley. We will also be having the presentation there on the Linden Police Department active shooter. And that concludes my report, Mr. President.
Thank you. Before Mr. Medina gives his report, Councilwoman Cosby-Hurling has a statement.
I'm sorry. I forgot to mention it, and I looked at my notes. We are planning to have a celebration of Black History for next month, so we're looking to have the same, support from the community that we had last year. We are inviting one of the original Tuskegee Airmen, Mr. I'm going to mess up his name. I'm not going to say his name, so I won't mess it up. But we're going to invite one of the original Tuskegee Airmen. So if anybody's interested in volunteering and helping, last year's program was out of sight. Just give me a call, 908-477-4120, and come out and support the event. It's a national event, and we did it last year, and it went over very well. And happy birthday to Ashley.
Thank you. Councilman Medina.
Thank you, Council President. Good evening, everyone. Don't have much to report since I'm a newbie, but I do have a couple of items that I would like to address for my constituents in the 9th Ward. The first item will be Rosewood construction is completed. They were there for, I believe, several weeks repairing the sewer problem, and it's finally completed. So now, hopefully, they can get back to normal and have a better quality of life without the water backing up into their sewers, which was a major problem for the past couple of years for them. Also, the Newton Park problem that's down by Pallant, small little park, ton of trees, a lot of branches falling and endangering the lives of children down there. Due to Sandy, a lot of the trees were not saved and is in the process of being taken care of. A lot of the trees are coming down. A lot of them are being trimmed. Also, my full contact information is on the city website, the 9th Ward. You can also follow me on Facebook. I actually created the 9th Ward Facebook as a community page, non-political, for informational purposes, in case we do have another Sandy, and just overall what's going on in the city and also going on in the ward. So definitely hit the like button if you're on Facebook and definitely get connected to that. I also want to thank, I think he left already, Chief Pavona. When I moved in 4 years ago, when I purchased my home 4 years ago on Orchard Terrace, experienced a lot of issues with traffic and whatnot, but Chief Pavona was very instrumental in working with me and the residents on Orchard Terrace to kind of help solve and alleviate some of those issues. So I just wanted to quickly thank him. I know he's out there, but I know I sent him an email, so he knows I appreciate all his hard work and his service to the city. That's basically conclude my report, so thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilman Medina. You're doing a good job. Councilman Kaczynski.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. First, I'd just like to congratulate Councilman Colibus and his family on his new addition. And I'd like to congratulate the new hires. Welcome to the Linden family on a permanent basis, and I know you're going to do a great job. And I also want to congratulate and thank Chief Pavona for his help when I first started. He was very helpful with questions, and he was responsive to the needs that I had. So I'd like to thank them all. And moving on, 2 weeks ago we had our reorganization meeting. And I think it's important for the city residents to understand that we basically run on a committee-based system. So I want to let you know what committees I was put on this year and what chairmanships I have and things like that. So this year, much like last year, I'm on the fire committee, which is the fire department, construction code and lighting, which is construction code, pretty self-apparent. Landfill, that's my new one. Revenue enhancement redevelopment, and contract negotiations and labor relations. I'm chairman of the fire committee and the construction code committee again. Last year, we had a great time working on the fire committee. I share that committee with Councilman Sadowski and Councilwoman Yamakaitis. We met a lot, very regularly, and we met at an as-needed basis as issues arose. We plan to do that again this year, and I look forward to working on that, all the issues that come up again. On the liaisons front, I'm also a liaison. Our city has liaisons to boards, different things that happen, like the Board of Education, the Board of Health, this, that, and the other. This year, I'm the liaison to the Board of Health and the Linden Roselle Sewage Authority. Basically, my job is to report back information to our board here. So I wanted to give you an understanding. And if you want to know all of our committee assignments, it's on the website, linden-nj.org. On the little part that's to the side where you meet your council members, there's a little committee assignment button. You can press that and see. Just to give you kind of understanding of how we work through these issues. When you come to me with, say, a DPW issue, I'll generally go to the committee, and the committee will go to the department head. And we'll work that way to try to get some real non-Band-Aid solutions. Because a lot of times you just go, you can get a Band-Aid solution, but if you really want an issue solved, you got to work through the whole system and work with everybody and get everybody on board. And our committee system is set up to do just that. So that's that. From those committees, from our fire committee, I'd just like to make the following reports. That the Fire Prevention Bureau collected $2,208.25 during the month of December. And that from the Construction Code and Lighting, the office issued 208 permits, 6 certificates, and brought in $50,519 in fees for December. And from the 10th Ward specifically, we're still reeling a bit from the cleanup from the superstorm, basically tree damage. So a lot of sidewalks are still messed up, some stumps here and there, things like that. I'm working with the county to try to get some of our stumps on the county roads taken care of. The majority of them have been taken care of, but there's one still on Style Street that I'm working on to try to get done. All in all, it's all moving forward. And if you have any specific questions, please feel free to reach out to me at 908-463-9234 or email akaczynski@linden-nj.org. Thank you very much. That concludes my report, Mr. Council President.
Thank you, Councilman. Mr. Mayor, you have a report for us?
Yes, I do, Council President. Thank you. First, I'd like to bring to everybody's attention the new soccer field that's in Wheeler Park. It's at Stiles and Route 1. It's just a beautiful field that Union County put up for the residents of Linden, and in particular the Union County Soccer League, who's the president is George Alvarez, standing in the back. He worked hard to get that, and George, you did a great job. Thank you. And just for everybody's edification, we've been having issues with flooding on the south side of town from Wheeler Park underneath the highway into 14th Street, Clinton Street, that neighborhood. And some of the concerns by the residents were the fact that this new soccer field has the drainage going right into Westbrook, which then continues into those floodplain areas. Well, I've talked to the county, and that is truly not the case. There is built underneath that soccer field a retention pond, which will hold any excessive water and then releases it when the water flow is below a certain level in Westbrook. So that soccer field will not impact any additional flooding to that area. And with that said, Friday, I'm going to meet with the DEP commissioner to ask for his assistance to give some short and long-term relief to the residents in that neighborhood for the flooding that always occurs when we had heavy rains. And what happened was the poor people on Emma Street, 14th Street, 14 months ago during Hurricane Irene, had flooded basements and first floors. They just finished remodeling it, and lo and behold, with Hurricane Sandy, the same thing happened again. So they deserve relief from the flooding, and I'm going to be talking to Commissioner Martin to make sure that we start taking the appropriate measures for them to do so. I'd also like to congratulate Chief Sal Bavona for your 36 years of dedication to the city of Linden. We go back a long way. I wish you well in your retirement in the near future, and I think we'll both always remember Ronald and Donald Johnson from many, many years ago. A night to remember in the Linden PD annals, but we won't go into any details. Also, we have the Hurricane Sandy Relief Fund. I have a special committee set up. We've been meeting to discuss the process. What this relief fund is we're going to give restitution as best we can to families that have their property and homes severely damaged by Hurricane Sandy. Again, we're going to go on a case-by-case basis. We know the families that were flooded out on Madison, Irene, Arthur, Walter, Emma, 14th Street. And we also know most of the homes that suffered severe damage due to trees falling on top of them. Those homeowners are going to receive letters in the mail, and we're going to sit down with them looking over their receipts, what relief they get from FEMA, what relief they get from their insurance, and we're going to take into account the damage to their properties. Again, this is for severely damaged homes. If you lost $500 worth of shingles or lost $500 worth of food because your electricity went out, this is not for you. This is for people that took a major hit on their property. If you feel after we send out the letters next week that you haven't been notified and we missed you somewhere along the line, which I don't think we will, but there may be one or two, you could call my office, 474-8493, leave your name and address and roughly the type of damage that occurred. But again, this is for severe structural damage, not for $1,000 worth of siding off of your home. But we will be looking at it on a case-by-case basis. There's a committee formed, and we will, again, be scrutinizing the relief we're giving. We don't expect to make people whole. We don't have enough money for that, but maybe we could assist them a little bit in their suffering with Superstorm Sandy. And in regards to that also, people may be eligible, and it's worth applying for and calling, is our home improvement program for any damages that were done to your home in regards to code violations such as new boilers, that type of thing. The only issue is that this is a loan. It's an interest-free loan that you will get if you qualify, but once you sell your home, you got to pay the loan back. And if you want to call to see if you're eligible for this program, you can call 732-382-8100, and that's developmental directions. All of this will be on TV 36, or again, you could get these phone numbers from my office. Also, I just learned this morning that the Union County Economic Development Corporation, that's out of Union County, is offering 2% loans for up to 15 years for Hurricane Sandy damaged homes. Again, there's no collateral needed, but it's a 2% interest loan for 15 years. Again, if you need a telephone number, I don't have it handy with me, but call my office, 474-8493. End of report, Council President.
Thank you, Mayor. And that money was all raised through donations?
Yes, the Hurricane Relief Fund was raised from generous contributions from residents, from generous contributions from New Star Corporation, and from Phillips 66.
Thank you. We're going to move into resolutions 2013-015 through 2013-100. Public comments will be permitted for all the specific resolutions To be removed from the consent approval, please read the synopsis of the resolutions which have been prepared by the city clerk's office. Each is informative and self-explanatory. However, if you wish to address a specific resolution, the council will entertain questions on it. Does anyone wish to remove a resolution from 0, 15 to 100 on my right? Pat Hero? 26, 30, 37, 64, 74, 82, 88, 89. On my right, in the center, Ms. Smellick, I'm sorry, I didn't hear it. 26, 52, 55, 57, 85, and 99. On my left, seeing none, I ask for a motion on the remainder.
Council President, what I'd like to do prior to reading, I would like to move to table item 2013-28 per discussion we had before the public meeting, and I'll ask for a second to do that.
Second.
Mr. Colbus.
Resolution 13?
2013, number 28.
That's the contract with Folis.
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
She's excused from a moment.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Okay, Council President, since we tabled 28, I have my work cut out for me, bear with me, there's 80 some odd items. I move resolutions number 15 through 27 and 29 through 100, with the exceptions of 26, 30, 37, 52, 55, 57, 64, 74, 82, 85, 88, 89, and 99. And I believe I hope I got all those right. And I ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
I vote yes on all and abstain on 5 and 51.
Mr. Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 2013-26, Pat Hero.
Pat, can you turn the mic on?
Yeah, okay. My question with regard to 2013-26 is, why are we having special bankruptcy counsel?
We maintain
Mr. Hudak.
special bankruptcy counsel when we have homeowners who are taxpayers or businesses that have owed taxes and file for bankruptcy. They handle it in the bankruptcy court to protect the city's interest and make sure that we are in the proper line to collect the money we should be. It also deals with the municipal court too when people owe money on their tickets and file bankruptcy. So bankruptcy practice is a special practice. They practice in the bankruptcy courts and cover us on that. Usually they come nowhere near this contract amount. We only have 1 or 2 of these a year.
Okay, I was just curious because I know some cities actually have been filing bankruptcy. Just a thought.
Thank you. Mrs. Malik? Pass. Motion, please.
Okay. I move resolution number 26 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Colbus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Mr. Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 1330, Pat Hero.
Now, this is in no way commenting on Mr. Hudak's abilities as an attorney. Having said that, personally, I would like to see this position opened up for other people to be considered for this position. If Mr. Hudak is the best candidate, then so be it. But personally, I'd like to see other people considered for the position of municipal attorney. Particularly, I would like to see someone who has no affiliation with Union County, because I think that would be best, since we do a lot of work with Union County, and I do believe that I would like someone with no affiliation and no ties to Union County. With that, I guess you will vote on this, but personally, I'd like to see this maybe pulled for another month and have it opened up for other people to be considered for the position. Thank you.
Thank you. Motion, please.
Council President, I move resolution number 30 and I ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes, but I'd like to make a comment. I spoke on this earlier in caucus. I believe we should have one city attorney instead of having two part-time attorneys. I feel we should have one full-time city attorney. It's in this building for 40 hours a week instead of having two 20-hour-a-week attorneys that we have to pay pensions and benefits to. So I'm going to abstain on this vote.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 1337, Pat Hero.
I am wondering, when it says 20%, this is regarding the ambulance debt collection services. I was just curious, with the 20%, does that mean that we collected, that they collected? I mean, of the 20%?
Chief Rizzo. Chief.
That is their fee for collecting it.
Okay, so then 45% would be their fee for the secondary placement, right?
For a secondary placement, but we don't really have any secondary placements for this. That would be if someone else was trying to collect it and they couldn't, and then we had to turn it over to them. But we don't have any secondary placements.
How bad is our debt collection?
This is specialized debt collection.
Right.
For when the insurance company pays you and you don't remit back to us. That's the only thing that this is used for.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Motion, please.
I move resolution number 37 and I ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbus? Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Mrs. Malik on 1352.
I've been following a lot of the expenses on the landfill. If I'm not mistaken, last year, there was something pertaining to something similar to this, sampling and analysis of wells, and this is an additional fee of almost $57,000. Can someone explain to me why are we having this fee now when we've had wells installed for sampling last year? And I'm pretty sure I remember seeing some fees similar to this for last year.
Mr. Verchik.
This is a yearly fee. We have 5 wells and 9 piezometers at the landfill. They have to be monitored every 3 months for chemical analysis. They have to provide testing to make sure that the groundwater is staying within the landfill and not leaching out. They have meetings with DEP. They have reports to write to DEP. So it's a yearly fee.
Another question. So, the landfill's been capped for quite some time. They've been doing this sampling for quite some time. Did the city know, was it made known to them that these expenses are going to be reoccurring every year? Did we have a good idea about this?
Yes, the city knew that.
Okay, thank you.
And it's less than it was a few years ago because they petitioned the DEP to test fewer chemicals, and the DEP approved it. So we're trying to reduce it every year or so based on DEP rules.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Motion, please.
I move resolution number 52, and I ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Colibus? Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Yes.
Armstead? Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Mrs. Malik, 1355.
Simple question. Why is this needed, that we have to have an outside concern for testing and inspection of materials for annual construction program? And what is this annual construction program?
Mr. Verchik.
Basically, when we get money for state aid, we have to core the street after it's finished to make sure that there's adequate compaction. 95% of the time, that's the only time we use this firm, and we just pay them on a time and materials basis. I think last year we paid them about $2,500.
Okay. And so
and it's covered by the grant.
Okay, so for all intent and purposes, this is, there's really no expense to us then?
Correct.
Okay.
Motion, please.
I move resolution number 55, and I ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Colibus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 1357, Mrs. Malik.
Is this vision plan part of the city's health plan, and also will the city employees be paying partly for this program?
Mrs. Zach.
Vision Plan 57.
The city, this is part of the package that the employees receive, the benefits, and presently the employees do not contribute. Starting in 2014, they'll start contributing towards their different benefits.
So then it is part of their overall health
Yes,
package?
it is.
Okay.
Motion, please.
I move resolution number 57, and I ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Colibus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Pat Hero on 1364.
What I'm interested in knowing is this is regarding the professional services agreement with Greener by Design with regard to grants for $60,000. Do we get anything from Greener by Design that shows, like on a yearly basis, what grants they have done and how much money?
Mrs. Zach.
Councilman? Or?
Councilman Brown.
Ms. Hero, I mean, just even today, this is a report just from the last, I want to say, since November to the month of January here, where we get regular updates. And I mean, grants, he's been able to bring in hundreds of thousands of dollars in grants. Greener by Design helps us out with a lot of grants. It's been very valuable. Let me just put it in a nutshell. He's helped bring in thousands of dollars. I think it's a very valuable company that we're utilizing. I don't know if Alexis wants to elaborate on it more, but it's well worth the money.
Yeah, if she wants to elaborate on it more, I'd appreciate it.
Again, I think it's, Councilman Brown had touched upon it, that this definitely, the service that we get provided by Greener by Design has definitely paid for itself tenfold. Greener by Design not only is our grants person that looks with works with various departments to get us grants. They also assist with our different energy audits. They're energy experts. They've been able to work on consortiums for us that's going to be able to save us hundreds of thousands of dollars in the near future. So we've been working very closely with them since November of 2011. They've brought in probably over $1 million, if not more so.
Okay, thank you.
I'd just like to make a comment too. Greener by Design, Adam Zellner is part of our project team who constantly meets with us in negotiations with the redevelopment agreement of Southwood Avenue. We tap his knowledge, and again, that's all included in this annual salary.
Council President?
Councilman?
If I may elaborate further, Pat.
Please.
The West Elizabeth Avenue project, which you hear me talk about, the brownfield, we've tried to market that for the last year and a half. Nobody wants the property. Even for $1, nobody wants the property because of what it potentially could cost someone. Met with Mr. Zellner not long ago. He said, get me all the information on the property, the entire history of it. And as much as we tried to move it, as much as we've spent so far to try to remediate that property, there's still a long way to go. Obviously, more greener, more sustainable alternatives are going to be the answer. So I got him everything. He's taking a look at it. Hopefully he'll come back with some recommendations. So he's useful to us and very valuable to us in many different ways. And if we could find a way to take a property like that and make it useful again, maybe not revenue generating, but a useful piece of property with his help, it's well worth. That's just one example of what he has done and what can do for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Brief comment from Mr. Brown.
Mr. Chair, I just want to mention one thing too. Greener by Design is one of the few contracts you won't see over and over again throughout the year where we're paying them more money. This is a set amount, and this is one of the contracts that I would like to have more often with our professional services where we pay a set amount and we're not coming back over and over again. So I think this is a great company.
Thank you. Motion, please.
I move resolution number 64 and I ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yamakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Pat Hero on 1374.
Okay, now this is a resolution appointing John Gregorio, a real estate member of the Board of Trustees of the District Management Corporation. Now, is this John Gregorio Sr., John Gregorio Jr., or another John Gregorio altogether?
Mr. Hudak?
That's John Gregorio Sr.
That's the former mayor.
Oh, okay. I can't resist quoting the another truly great civic activist, Joe Bianco, and I hope he doesn't mind my quoting him, but it seems the more things change, the more they stay the same. Thank you.
Motion, please.
I move resolution number 74 and I ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yamakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Pat Hero, 1382.
I guess I should just plant myself up here. With regard to Gen X Consulting to provide computer consulting services, it says through a non-fair and open process. Am I looking at a typo here?
In amount of $2,500 for time reporting the year 2030.
Yes.
Mrs. Zach?
Yeah, well, it's just a non-fair and open process. Under the statute, a fair and open process is for contracts over the bid limit that are put out for requests for proposals. Non-fair and open, there's no request for proposals. There's, the companies are called in, some quotes are gotten, but it's under the law called the non-fair. They have to file certain certifications that they've not made political contributions to a certain level, and they've done certain other things. So that's the law. If you do an RFQ, it's fair and open. If you don't do an RFQ, it's a non-fair and open. That's just the way the statute reads.
Oh, excellent. I've learned something, which is always good. I always like to be better informed. Time off reporting, what's that?
This is a time-off reporting system that every department in the city utilizes. It was established in 2005. Gen X created a database, and each department has a certain number of employees, and each employee gets a certain amount of time off, whether it be vacation time, sick time, holiday, in lieu of time. So they have to record their time off each month, and every department head must certify that those are the dates that their employees have taken. And this is a time management system that the actual accounting is kept in this program. And the existing personnel committee is actually in the process of looking for an actual accountability system. So right now, we're looking at possibly changing the way everybody accounts for their time. But in the meantime, this is the mechanism that we use for every department to uniformly record their time off, and that's recorded through this program.
But do we have to spend $2,500? I mean,
Normally, it's not to exceed $2,500. It depends on the number of changes that we have to make. It's unique to this Gen X. They're the ones that created the program. Last year, I believe we spent $212. It depends on how many changes we have to make. If a lot of people don't have changes in their vacation time, if they fall within a certain time period, then no changes will be made.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. A motion, please.
I move resolution number 82, and I ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yamakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Mrs. Smellick on 1385.
What's being specifically offered in this agreement? And also, is this the first time for this type of an agreement?
Mrs. Zack?
Express Scripts was formerly known as Medco. That's our prescription service provider. And actually, this is going to show a decrease. The amount has gone down. Last year, the amount was $2.1 million. This year, they estimated $1.83. So it's actually going to show a decrease in 2013.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. A motion, please.
I move resolution number 85 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yamakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. On 1388, Pat Hero.
Council President, in advance of Ms. Hero's question, we do have representatives from PASCAC here to address number 88 or 99 for you in detail, but I don't know what your question is, but we do have representatives here.
Oh, yeah, I don't need 99 to be addressed. I kind of understand that. What I don't understand is why we are spending for computer consulting services an amount not to exceed $103,800 for non-public safety departments and $84,920 for public safety departments. It almost seems, and I hate to use the word, but maybe cheaper or more economical for us to have somebody in-house do the work rather than have, this large amount of money go out for that. So if they could explain this to me, I'm interested.
Gentlemen, could you help Ms. Hero with that question?
Council President,
Yes.
may I just speak before PASCAC?
Ms. Zack?
The Technology Committee and the Finance Department has worked tirelessly on the effort of addressing our IT. We've had somewhat of an antiquated system. We haven't upgraded our computers probably since Y2K, a lot of the programs and hardware. We do not have a specialized, specific IT department. We have one person in the police department, and we have one person in the finance department. The person in the finance department has dual functions and would not be able to provide the service of implementing the massive undertaking of the whole addressing of the IT. In the police department, the same thing. You have one individual, and it's a massive undertaking for the public safety department. So that's why we've called upon the experts in PASCAC data, and we've also gone to the market, and we've gotten 3 different quotes, and PASCAC has provided the lowest amount, and it's going to be a savings of about $81,000. They're well below 10% of the state contract pricing. So with that being said, I'd like to ask PASCAC, Howard Adler, and Nick Caruso to explain.
Gentlemen,
Howard Adler, PASCAC Data. Thank you.
speaking to the mic, please.
Sorry. The system that's been designed is going to replace the entire infrastructure throughout the city. A lot of the time that's spent right now is trying to repair the equipment that is 7, 8, 9 years old. It's running software that has been actually stopped being used and hasn't been supported in years. So the new system coming in is going to make everything a lot more useful. It's going to make it easier to use. It's going to be a lot easier to support. So moving on, it'll be less work and less cost for the support of the system. So yes, there is a large investment for the city up front, but the enterprise solution that's being put in place is going to save money as time goes on, because there is going to be less requirement and less need for support of the system going forward. The system is the latest technology. It's called virtualization. And if anybody has specific technical questions, we'd be more than happy to answer it. But basically, it's the latest technology that will save the city a lot of money moving forward, because all the old equipment won't need to be repaired on a daily basis. And the information and all of the calculations and all the work that's done is centralized back in the main office or back in the computer room, so that less of the information has to be on the people's desktop, so that they don't have to worry as much and the people don't have to do as much work to repair those things. If you'd like more additional detail, I'd be more than happy to elaborate.
Yeah, I guess what I understood is we were getting a lot more new equipment. You say that we're still like repairing some of the old equipment?
Well, the new equipment has not been put in yet. But the new equipment that comes in will replace these units that are out there. The objective here is to replace all of the aging equipment and all of the older equipment with new, more efficient, more productive equipment with newer products that are supported, so you can get help and get things to work better, make the people more productive. And you're not very productive if you're working with PCs that are 7, 8 years old that stop working, and then you got to sit without a machine for half a day.
Councilman Brown, you had a comment?
Yeah, and Ms. Hero, just to touch on, because you asked a very important question, why aren't we doing this in-house? It's not a matter, and they explained it, and if you can explain it again, because you explained it back, it's not a matter of taking a PC and replacing an old PC for new PC. This is something that's a little bit more specialized. If you could just explain that a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Right now, people have a PC on their desk like you would have at home. The new equipment takes basically all the functioning power that sits on the desk normally and brings it back into the central computer, which sits in the computer room. And you have almost generic, like a toaster, sitting on your desk. The only thing there is a screen, a keyboard, a mouse, and a tiny little box. And all the smart technology, which we put together on the back end, runs everything, which makes it a lot easier to support because everything is centralized in the computer room. And it's what they call enterprise level capabilities. So, I mean, you know, General Motors and PSE&G and all the large companies use similar technology, but the costs have come down dramatically to allow the municipality to be able to afford those same capabilities. Reduced a lot of man hours in taking care of the system moving forward. That really is, you know, where the cost saving is going to be.
Council President?
Councilman?
If I may, Ms. Hero, I want to call you Pat, but Ms. Hero, I've been very diligent, I think, the past 6 or 8 months in reporting how we were doing this, what we were doing, being very specific. And I know you even came up and you asked some questions about it. I think you specifically asked a question back in August or September about virtualization, and we described it in detail. As the gentleman said, this is going to be something where all you have on a person's desk is a hard drive and an OS, or an operating system. There are no applications, there's no software, it all runs off of a major centralized server. So if applications or software has to be updated, it's done once. Everybody can take advantage of it. There will no longer be any problems with, well, I can't do this and I can't do that, all right? All of that will be, if there's a problem, it's done in one place, and everybody can log on to any computer with a password and access the content. It makes it much easier, and upgrades are much simpler, and the amount of time that we're doing, for quote of a better, you know, say, trouble tracking to each individual spot, it could be 2 hours here, it could be half hour here, that will almost virtually disappear. There's going to be growing pains, but that won't happen for the most part anymore. If there's an issue, it could be done at a centralized spot. That's why I'm so grateful that Council took the time to learn it, understood it, and passed it. And mind you, all of this money has been appropriated back in 2012. So you see the numbers here again. These are numbers that were appropriated already. Now we're implementing it, and that's why we wanted to make it very clear that this is implementation, but as our treasurer said, it is listed here again, so not to be confused with new appropriate. This has been appropriated, and now it's time to implement. So it's a very exciting time. If you have any further questions, you can reach out to myself. I will ask these gentlemen if it's something above my head, but we will get you any information. Email me, call me, and we will get you the information you need. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Motion, please.
Where we were. Okay. I move resolution number 88, and I ask for a second.
Second. Mr. Kalbas? Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 1389, Pat Hero.
Who did this last year?
Mr. McDonald? What number?
This is, I believe, the fourth year that we're using the same company, Gen Electric.
Oh, they're doing a great job.
That's it?
Okay.
Motion, please.
I move resolution number 89 and ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbas?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. Mrs. Malik on 1399.
I got most of my answers. You did a good job on 88. But a couple of things, at least the network portion, I can appreciate. One thing which I wanted to also ask, now that we're having this network being implemented, is this also going to be included with the police departments? Last year, there was some software or hardware for the police department. Are you doing this for all the departments?
Mrs. Zach.
It's actually two phases. The police department's totally separate, and for security reasons, they have to be separate. So the public safety aspect is one project, and the other projects, all non-public safety, which is public works, public property, recreation, all of City Hall. So it's two different phases, but they are going to be working on it simultaneously.
Okay. Now that we're having this new system put in where everyone will be able to share or just have maybe one central location for the software, is this going to also improve how we're sharing information between departments?
I would believe that it should make it much more efficient and effective. We've been working on bringing the different IT and technology to each of the departments. We're going to be going in again, retraining the different personnel, because again, it's different programs. It's the same information that they've had, but a different version of it. So we will be training them. And again, we always try to work with the departments to have them be the most effective and efficient.
I don't think, I'm not referring to actually
Gentlemen,
programs.
Could you help us with that?
Well, let me just finish, kind of clarify, because I don't think we're on the same page here. It doesn't have to do with the programs, but let's say in the finance department or the treasury department, there's some information that you have, and that has to be maybe relayed to another department or something pertaining to personnel. All of this information can be shared and it's made known to people. The same thing about like assets or asset management. I just, I am inquiring if this type of information, so it's not program-oriented, but it's information generated within the city, can be shared, readily available, and I'm looking to make sure that there's, total transparency in this information where people need, when they need something, they can get it. So I'm just hoping that with this system, it's going to be more transparent for different groups to have the information, everyone be on the same page.
Councilman Kozia?
On two levels. You're talking about possibly sharing databases.
Yes.
Absolutely possible, and gentlemen, correct me if I'm wrong, with certain permissions, with certain passwords, absolutely that's the case. Where I thought you were
We're moving there, right?
We're
Okay.
moving there. We're taking baby steps, but I'll tell you, we are moving there. This is a big step for the city this year, and this is something that should have been done for a very long time. I'll tell you how concerned we are about it and how bad it's gotten. Because there's such age with our computer technology right now. I've had people tell me in certain departments, they've had to print out hard copy and walk it to another department because their OS or their application was not compatible with another computer's,
Initially resolve it.
Exactly. So what's going to happen here? Again, if we are to upload the latest Microsoft Word suite or Microsoft suite of applications, everybody is going to share in the same application because it's not going to reside on their hard drive. It's a virtualization. They will use it, be able to access it, but all it will have is an OS, an operating system. Imagine just booting up your computer and starting no programs. How
I'm
fast
quite familiar with that technology.
There you go. So what we're going to do is, that's all going to become, they're going to be stripped. The only ones that are going to be different, let's take the law department, where they have to have their own standalone hard drive. And certain computers that are going to stay, we're going to call them legacy models, we'll keep the latest models where people have to have a separate hard drive. That's going to be few and far between, but that is the case. I also have, we have a technology implementation plan. I'd be happy to share this with you after the meeting. And it shows it's a 4-month program or procedure and how it's going to be implemented. And it's quite the program. So we're going to have transparency. And as we implement the new, we're going to take a department that, I'm not going to say not a critical department, every department's critical, but we're going to go department by department by department, and we're going to slowly implement so that we're finally, there in 4 months.
So in 4 months, this system, the allocation for the funds, that's what you're referring to in 4 months, this is all going to be
The
in
funds
effect.
have been allocated, they're in, we did
And
that in
there's
2012.
programs.
Now it's a matter of taking those funds and implementing the program, and it's very detailed. I'll be happy to share this with you.
Sure. You were going to say something, okay. Because you were going to ask that, you thought I was going in a different direction?
Yeah, I thought you meant between City Hall and the public.
No. All right, thanks.
Motion, please.
I move resolution number 99, and I ask for a second.
Second.
Mr. Kalbus?
Yes.
Cosio?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Crosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. We're going to move into ordinance on first reading. Council, in order to take into consideration public input into the proposed ordinance, will allow 3 minutes for each individual to speak on the ordinance on first reading. Council will not answer any questions, and everybody's reminded that public hearing on these ordinances will be held next month's council meeting. Ordinance number 5701.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 7 Traffic as follows. Section 7-33 Handicap Parking Regulations, 7-33.1A Handicap Parking on Street, add 227 East Blanky Street, 614 Cleveland Avenue, 818 Cleveland Avenue, 1013 Chandler Avenue, delete 669 Meacham Avenue and 650 Morningside Avenue.
Comments?
Yes. Yes, Mr. President, I move for an introduction for ordinance 5701 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colibus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5702.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 3 Police Regulations as follows. Add new Section 3-18.2A, regulating charitable clothing bins.
Comments from the public? Seeing none?
Yes, Mr. President, I move for, yes, Mr. President, I move for an introduction of ordinance 5702 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colibus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5703.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 4 General Licensing as follows. Amending garage sale ordinance enforcement and conduct of sales.
Comments? Seeing none?
Yes, Mr. President, I move for an introduction for ordinance number 5703 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colibus?
Yes.
Koziel?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling?
Yes.
Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. 5704.
An ordinance to amend and supplement Chapter 31 zoning shall be amended as follows. Add new section 31-20.26, clothing bin donations.
Comments from the public? Seeing none.
Yes, Mr. President, I move for an introduction for ordinance number 5704 and request a second.
Second.
Mr. Colibus?
Yes.
Koziol?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Armstead?
Yes.
Cosby Hurling? Yes. Sadowski?
Yes.
Sheehy?
Yes.
Yemakaitis?
Yes.
Medina?
Yes.
Kaczynski?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes. All right, we'll move into comments from members in the public in attendance on city business only. Comments not to exceed 5 minutes. Did everybody get a chance to sign the sheet? If so, I'll start with Pat Hero.
Pat Hero, Wheat Chief Road. First, I want to congratulate Councilman Columbus on the birth of Samantha Christina. And now I guess I want to discuss what I heard at the State of the City with the mayor. May have talked about this a little last time, but it certainly does bear repeating. The mayor was talking about the Southwood Avenue project, and while we have a developer, and I guess we're in negotiations as far as I know, the negotiations are still continuing. Haven't been told elsewise. He is now talking about phase 2. And he is talking about the government possibly buying the property and then giving the property to the developer. This is where we stop. We don't buy properties for developers. Developers can buy their own property. When developers buy their own property, it's their incentive to keep the businesses going and the property taxes.
We're sorry, your call did not go through.
Just continue.
And, okay, thank you. And the business is going until, of course, the development is completed, at which point they close, businesses leave, and the buildings are torn down. Also, when government buys the property, and I know the mayor has said he's against this, but saying and making sure you do it are two different things. The mayor is against eminent domain abuse, that's what he has said. But when government buys property, eminent domain abuse rears its ugly head, particularly in a situation like this. That is why I would like it on record that we should not be buying properties for developers. Developers can buy their own property, thank you very much. We do not need taxpayer funds going to that, and businesses do not need the threats of eminent domain abuse hanging over their heads. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Council President, can I respond?
Please, Mayor. Yes, sir.
Ms. Hero, you're totally misinformed of what I said. Either you misunderstood me, because we own that property. We all paid $3.5 million to buy out the buildings and knock them down. That was during the previous administration, and now the Union County Improvement Authority, which is our redeveloper, is going to give us that property, which is rightfully the city of Linden's, because we paid $3.5 million for it, and we are going to negotiate a sale with the developer on that property. I don't know where you got the information that we're buying that property.
No, I'm not talking about that property. I'm not talking about what we're currently negotiating with the developer on. I'm talking about the other phases of the properties in the Southwood Avenue redevelopment project. Not the ones we're in negotiation with the developer and everything like that. I'm talking about future phases of this project.
Yes, and that is an area in need of redevelopment that was issued back in 2005, Phase 1, Phase 2, and Phase 3 under the prior administration, and we are going forward with our commitments to develop Phase 1 and then giving the option to the developer to go to Phase 2 and Phase 3. We've already committed to eminent domain. We've already committed to redevelopment, and what I am trying to do is just clear up our commitment and move forward from prior administration's commitment of eminent domain.
Right, and that's what makes it so wrong. Thank you.
Henry Reddick.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. President of City Council, Chief of Police, ladies and gentlemen of council and men. First, I'd like to piggyback, and first let me say this, if you will. I humble myself, and I ask you, if what I'm about to say, if I offend anyone in the city of Linden, I beg you to forgive me. I want to thank you, my beloved brother, being on your umbrella with the wisdom that you always grant humanity. Mr. Mayor and the council people, I'm going to say, I'm going to piggyback off what I heard y'all say. This is what y'all said. Y'all said it. I didn't say it. Y'all said it. How great a job Sal did. I heard you. Heard what you said. I watched the cupcakes that y'all passed out tonight. I heard it. I didn't say it. You said it. And I respectfully submit to you, there's some cream in that cupcake. The people told me to tell y'all that. There's some cream in that cupcake. I don't know what they told me. I don't know how it tasted to them. But they told me there was some cream in the cupcake. But they told me the icing on the cake was unique. But there was some cream in the cupcake. And I want to say for the people, ask me, the people told me to tell you. They growed, I told you, Mayor, in your own office. I told you in your office. The people said that they growed in love with Sal. And we want to say to the chief who have taken on that chair, sir, we ask you, will you come down in the community of the wards, watch the wards, and plant your seeds and let them grow in love with you? Heard me, Chief? Let the people grow in love under your leadership. Because we have to hear and obey to your leadership. But we ask you, let us grow. And do not jam it down our throat, if you will. Councilors, I heard, and the people's heard you too. And I'm going to go back and tell the people that I sit there and I listen attentively. Attentively, Mr. Mayor. And you know, me and you talked about this. Am I right about that?
2 minutes.
You're always right, Henry.
Don't you say. Praise be to God that we is always right. On that note, I humble myself in the name of the people.
Thank you very much. Dennis Konecki. Slaughtered your name here.
Good evening, all. Dennis Kopecki, Rudo Street. That's up in Ward 1, where Mr. Colobus, unfortunately, has now been cut off, and so I can't wish him the same as the rest of us over here earlier this evening. What I'd like to address is I want to join the fanfare and the applause of the announcement of Councilman Koziel as far as the installation of the four-way stop sign at DeWitt Street and Henry Street. But I think I would also, in a much larger sense, bring up the fact that there's DeWitt Terrace also. DeWitt Terrace is on the other side, if you remember, of St. George Avenue, and it runs all the way up to the traffic light at Raritan Road. The differences are that DeWitt Street, as I think many of us know from having used it for so many years, in fact both of them we'll talk about actually, is that DeWitt Street has its bumps, its dips, maybe some bad pavement here and there, and certainly the curve right by the athletic field. and a traffic light that's probably been there longer than I've been around, because I don't even remember, except the fact that we used to have a bus line that you would use DeWitt Street, the number 10 bus, and I think I had even passes on it back in my grade school days. And then, of course, we have DeWitt Terrace, a lovely straightaway. Some of it was resurfaced, I believe, from Livingston Avenue to Swarthmore last year, and I rely on the city to correct me if I've got the dates wrong. It's straight. It's probably the same width as DeWitt Street, but much smoother, doesn't have the curves, goes right down. As a reminder, DeWitt Terrace, folks, is not a speedway. It's still posted at 25 miles per hour, which is consistent with what the state wants for a residential section, and DeWitt Terrace also has 3, if you want to extend the idea, 3 school zones. Of course, McManus School is obvious because it borders right on DeWitt Terrace, but then you've got school number 9, which is a few blocks over at Deerfield Terrace, and you've got school 10 up there by Highland Avenue. DeWitt Street, on the other hand, only has sort of a school zone with school number 8 a few blocks over at its very end. We're fixing up DeWitt Street, and yet I believe, and I'm going to charge the council and the police and safety people that are involved, please, let's start taking care of the abuses on DeWitt Terrace. They're probably just as bad as far as excessive speeding, if not worse. And some of the other stuff as far as people pulling out of the intersections, racing through those stop signs. I appreciate the fact that we've already had officers up there observing what goes on, but the thing is now you can fix DeWitt Street, you can fix DeWitt Terrace. That's all of my reports. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Council President, I would like
Yes.
to respond to Dennis' concerns. I know there's a major problem on DeWitt Terrace. Actually, we spoke about it, and I spoke to several other crossing guards on DeWitt Terrace. DeWitt Street and DeWitt Terrace, unfortunately, it's just a main artery. My promise to you and other residents of the 9th Ward, and especially the people that live on DeWitt Terrace, I will work diligently with the mayor, with the chief of police, and also our sergeant of traffic as well. We will try to remedy this problem, and I promise to get your report hopefully in the next couple of months. So it is a safety concern. I encourage people, leave 10 minutes early. Don't speed down our street. The 9th Ward, even the 10th Ward, we're plagued with traffic problems. People just don't care. And again, we have School 10, we have McManus, and we also have the kids walking over to the high school. And I can tell you, every morning and every afternoon, when I walk my dog, the dangers on these roads, Orchard Terrace, Summit, and DeWitt. So we're gonna work hard and try to remedy this problem and bring out some more enforcement. So that is my promise to you and the constituents of the 9th Ward. We are going to be working on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. The following council meetings will be as follows. Council conference meeting Monday, February 18th, 2013 at 6 p.m. in the council conference room, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. Council conference meeting prior to the council meeting. Tuesday, February 19th, 2013, 6 p.m. in the council conference room, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. Council meeting Tuesday, February 19th, 2013 at 7 p.m. in the council chambers, City Hall, 301 Northwood Avenue. I ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second. Mr. Koziel.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Armstead.
Yes.
Cosby Hurling.
Yes.
Sadowski. Sheehy.
Yes.
Yamakaitis.
Yes.
Medina.
Yes.
Kaczynski.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
Damn, I might get...